Welcome to Unscripted Unstoppable, the podcast where we embrace life's twists and turns, finding the unstoppable potential within. I'm your host, Michelle Farley, and I am thrilled to dive in today's episode on combining creativity and entrepreneurship. Welcome back, you all. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much. We are moving right along. We are in episode 3 of a 8-part podcast series that will lead us into the new year, all about embracing creativity in our 40s. Last week, we talked about embracing change, understanding that even though we are in our 40s, approaching 40, or maybe even very close to our 50s, there is still time and opportunity to create those things that we have a desire to accomplish, whether that is, playing an instrument or writing a screenplay or writing a book. There is still time. You still have that creative energy and flow within you, and that you are truly unstoppable. We also talked about how, along with waiting for your dreams to fully come to their potential, that you have all of this life experience that can help you create more, can help you dive deeper into what it is that you want to express, because you do have that life experience. And so while it may seem like this time has kind of passed you by, throughout that time, you have been learning, you have been growing, and all of that together has made you who you are. And it's definitely going to help you along your creative path, wherever that may be. So today, I want to talk more about, so you've embraced the change. You realize that you still have this a great amount of time to create, that it's not too late. But I also want to add on a new element to that, like while you're creating, how you can turn your passions into profits. So today we're going to talk about creativity and entrepreneurship and how they blend together. So essentially, I believe that your creativity is your compass and your entrepreneurship is the journey, because you know that it's something that you want to do. So whether that's like you have a great knack for writing slogans or writing these thoughtful thoughts, or whatever that is, that can be turned into a greeting card line or a t-shirt line or a coffee mug or tea line. That could be keychains, that could be pens and pencils. It's a variety of things that you can use your skill, your talent for, that you can also use money to do in the process. And so sometimes as creatives, we don't necessarily think about the profitable side, what we can do that will enhance, yes, definitely enhance our passion to create, but also provide some type of financial gain as well. And so I really want you to start to think about like what it is that you can do and do well, that you can also be profitable about. I had this discussion with a friend years ago about, there are certain things that I enjoy about writing and there's certain things that I don't enjoy. I enjoy being a copywriter because I like the idea listening to a business owner tell me their why behind their business, and then creating brand messagings that really evokes emotion, that they're able to explain the why of what they do. And I'm able to explain the why of what they do that really resonates with their audience. I enjoy that a great deal. But I have found over the years that I don't enjoy writing about copywriting, but I'm good at it. And because I'm good at it and because I have a talent for it, I'm able to use that to make, I want to say it's like my primary, it's not my primary source of income, but I'm able to make money based off of that, if that makes sense. So it's like I love to help other people tell their story, but sometimes I have a hard time telling my story when it comes to promoting my business, if that makes sense. So I had a conversation with a friend a few years ago, and we talked about passions and talents. You may have a talent that you might not necessarily be passionate about, but you're good at. That talent can also / skill. You may have a skill that you're really great at, but you don't necessarily, it's not necessarily something that you wake up in the morning excited to do, but it's something that you do well and that's able to lead you to have some type of additional income. Now, whether that's your regular 9 to 5, whether it's your side hustle, it's something that you do well that may not take a lot of energy out of you to do that others have a hard time doing. And because you can do it well, you can do it efficiently, and you can do it within a reasonable amount of time, you can use that skill to create additional income. And so I am able to do that with my copywriting. I enjoy it. I can't say that it is definitely like 100% a passion of mine, but it's a talent that I recognize that I have. It is a skill that I recognize that I have. And so I'm always learning more information, learning more techniques for this skill because that I know that it's helpful and it's also profitable for myself because businesses need people who can write well, tell a great story so that they can get the customers and reach the audience of customers that they're seeking. And I had a conversation with my friend about, even though I'm not passionate about it, I recognize that this is a skill and a talent that was given to me. Now, I don't know who you believe in, but I do believe that God has given us all some type of skill or talent. And this skill and talent gives us the ability to have some type of skill, trade, whatever you want to call it, that will help you have some type of income to come in your home, whether that's side business or whether that's a full-time job. I truly believe that. I think we all have some type of talent, some type of knack that only you can do that other people can't do as well. And so when we look at creativity, there are other parts of creativity that I'm also able to branch out and make that more profitable. So as a writer, I know that there's a branch for copywriting. There's a branch for writing children's books, which I've done. There's a branch of screenwriting and television that scripts that I think that's leaning more to what I want to do as a passion. But there's also other creative endeavors that I want to do that branch out of that nucleus of being a writer. And so that allows me to think of things creatively, but also allows me to think of things as a business person. And so if you're listening to this podcast today, I really want you to start to think about where can your creativity take you? So this is that let's be clear moment that when you can embrace both and navigate both towards your dreams. You can be creative. You can also be a business person. I believe that it's crucial for those two things to work together as people who are creative, who are artists. A lot of times we like to focus on the art and not the profit, and we have to start to do both. I used to write for the love of writing, and I wouldn't charge what I should have charged because, I enjoyed it, but then I understood that my writing is a form of energy. So it's not the same as someone who's a welder. It's not the same as someone's a bus driver. It's not the same as someone who is a surgeon, but I'm still exerting energy. Creative energy is still an energy force. It takes a lot, and it's not just sitting down and writing. It's the research. It's the thinking of things. It's the multiple drafts. It's a lot of things that goes into that final product. And whatever it is that you're creating, you need to make sure that you're charging what your hard work goes towards. Got right into the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will notice that my background is changing. I am on location. And when I say on location, I mean that I'm taking a fall break with my family. And so this, but the name of the game is consistency. And so I decided that I definitely would not go on hiatus because we're on vacation. So I'm just going to take a few moments out of the evening to dive into this. So last week's homework was to think about what is one or two things you wanted to accomplish by your next birthday year. Today's homework assignment is for you to think about what it is that you do well and how can you start to branch out those skills, those talents into something that's profitable. Okay, so if you are a graphic designer and right now maybe you design flyers. You could also design t-shirts. You could also design postcards. You could design tote bags, for conferences, for family reunions. If you are a web developer, what other skills could you branch out to do that is more profitable? Could you start doing consulting for small businesses? All those different things. So I want you to really take some time and think about, like, in the center, what it is that you do. Like, what would you call yourself, right? If you are a person that is like a painter, right? That is the primary skill talent. But now, how can you branch out to make branches of being a painter more profitable? And take some time to really think about that, and then kind of outline what would that look like for you in 2024. Hey parents and young readers, are you ready for an adventure? Join Dudley, a lovable little boy, as he imagines all the fun he'll do at his dad's office. Take Dudley to Work Day can be yours by visiting www.dudleymagnificent.com. Use code UNU for an exclusive 20% off. So about 13 years ago, I was working at a media company, an independent media company, here in Columbus, Ohio. And honestly, it was an interesting work environment. And as I look back on it, I really think I should have quit probably probably after the second week that I actually started working there. But learned a lot. Also learned what I would and would not do again in a working environment. But I remember the owner of the company would have me write scripts for certain companies. And when I would turn in the draft to him, he would hate them. Like, all the time, he would hate them. And one time I actually felt like he tried to throw me under the bus, and he submitted one of the scripts that I wrote just for them to be like, they're not going to like this, et cetera, et cetera. And actually the client loved it. And then that was a boost in my confidence to be really like, I I thought I knew what I was doing and I was right. And I almost let someone else and their own ability not to see my talent really question, have me question my skill, my talent. And around that time, fast forward a couple of months, I went from being a full-time employee to a part-time employee. And then basically I was like laid off. And so I would still work for this company from time to time. But I was unemployed, and I haven't had a job since I was like 14 and a half. I had never not had a job. I never not had a job. And so I was freaking out. And my husband was like, take this time to kind of figure out what it is that you really want to do. And yeah, I just wasn't really feeling that at the time. But I decided that I was going to at least try to freelance while I look for another another job. And I eventually became a copywriter at a rather large e-commerce business, but it was a gap in between that time. So for about 3 or 4 months, I freelanced, and I made really great money. I had no like email list, I had no client list, but I did have friends who had friends. And so I just really sat down one evening and I read a heartfelt email about, hey, I am starting a freelance business. This is sort of my niche. This is my experience. My portfolio was not that large, but I had enough examples for a lot of different sectors that I felt like this would be great. Here's the thing about putting yourself out there. Like, I was nervous because, your friends are your friends, right? And you never want to put them in the position where they're like, oh, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But majority of the people that are my friends already knew my ability and my skill set. And so they were willing to put themselves out there to suggest me to their friends who own businesses that needed a copywriter. So I might have emailed about 20 or so, like friends, family, past like colleagues, acquaintances, people I felt comfortable enough to write the email to. And out of that amount, I want to say 4 people email me back. Now, mind you, a lot of people email me back just to say, I'm so proud of you. I don't know anybody right now, but if I do, I'll let you know. But 4 people actually was like, hey, I'm going to send this along to some people. And I was able to get from those 4 saying they're going to send it on, two of those people ended up giving me my first clients. And once that happened, I felt like I was on a roll. And it was pretty awesome. Like the money continued to flow. It continued to flow. That it still covered like the expenses and all, all these other, things that I did prior to me being let go. Now, mind you, yes, I was married. So it wasn't like I was like, didn't know, where the mortgage payment was going to come from, any of that. I didn't necessarily have to worry about that. But there were things that just on my own person that I took care of that I, wanted. And I wanted the extra money in my pocket, that actually worked out for me. That's when I knew, I'm like, okay, yeah, I have this talent, I have the skill. It can also be profitable. Now, I eventually did go back to working a 9 to 5, but now I had this side business that was also generating extra income. And I haven't looked back since then. And it's been a really great learning experience. I've had to learn how to price things correctly and not to take on too many projects and work a full-time job, to not to get burned out, not feeling guilty about taking vacation time, even if it's a side business, so that I can recharge. Again, going back to that creative energy that it exerts energy, it also needs to be restored so that you can be your best self. I went into it not knowing what to expect. But even that uncertainty of not having a job, then I was able to turn it into opportunity. And so I guess the lesson in that is that even when I had to embrace this unknown of like not being employed, I still had an open mind and an open heart. And I believe that my creativity would guide me to this journey, this new path. And sometimes this unknown can be a great asset, right? It created a new canvas for me and painted out a new outlook on life, a new destiny for me, and has kept me, well over 12 plus years. This is a section for Ask Michelle. So if you have questions in regards to how are you to maintain creativity in the midst of responsibilities of being over 40, or if you just have, a random, not random, but if you have a question, concern, or comment that you would like to share, please, I'm calling this section Ask Michelle. Feel free to send me a message on social media at Michelle Elaine 2.0 on Instagram, or Michelle Fairley Writes on Instagram, and I will be happy to pose your question on the next podcast. Okay, so this is a quick episode, I know, but I want to get back to my family. But I wanted to take this time just to tell you that, first of all, thank you for rocking with me for these past 3 episodes. I appreciate you all. I feel like each episode is getting better and better. I really value your support, your listenership, and even your fellowship. But as we close, I want you to remember your dreams are never out of your reach, regardless of where you are on one's life's timeline. Embrace the unscripted and let your unstoppable potential shine. Till the next time we speak, I hope you stay inspired, stay creative, keep dreaming, keep believing. I wish you peace, joy, hope, blessings, love, all that beautiful stuff, and we'll talk real soon. Bye.